Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean and this is In The Mix, episode 142 of our Isle of Man series. Happy Tuesday, wherever in the world you happen to be watching from. Now, if you haven't gone back and watched yesterday's episode to start the week, go and check that one out because it goes through our team, it goes through our tactic, it goes through the transfers we brought in, our goals for the season, all that sort of great stuff, and it'll bring you up to date with what we're going to be trying to do in today's episode, which is, of course, we're going to first watch the group stage draw for the Europa League, and then we're also probably going to play our first group stage match in this episode. So let's not waste too much time, let's jump straight in and see how we've gotten on. Right, so first and foremost, as you can see just above my head up here, we're currently in top spot in the division. 3 games played, 3 wins, of course, the first of which you saw in yesterday's episode against Wolves. Do not get too carried away with us currently sitting at the top of the division. The reason I say that is we've also played Burnley, who we beat 1-0, and Sheffield Wednesday, who we beat 3-0. These are the 3 sides promoted from the championship last year. We should be beating these teams. It is somewhat of kind of a misnomer that we at the top of the league. These are 3 games that we should be winning no matter when we play them in the season. We haven't really played anyone as yet. We do have big money Brighton. We've got Bournemouth and Leicester, who've also started the season quite well and are sitting in 3rd, coming up over the next few weeks, as well as Arsenal in September as well. So there's a few big games where potentially we will drop points. But so far, so good. We're winning the games we should be winning, but we can't get too far ahead of ourselves this early on in the season. Otherwise, nothing to really report. The squad is doing quite well. We haven't had the best start to the season from Pablo Rivera. You can see here 6.64. It may be that Everton being kind of like sniffing around him is putting him off a little bit. But Neil Peacock is getting scouted by pretty much everyone. Man City have been sending scouts for the last 2 matches. He's playing fantastically well at the same time. I know Henry has interest from Leicester, Newcastle and Southampton, which is good for us. It means those teams like Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Barcelona, who've gone in for him before, PSG, they've disappeared a little bit. So we're not as worried about the likes of Leicester, Newcastle, Southampton because they're not in the Champions League and therefore cannot activate his release clause. So he's working out quite nicely for us as well. But the first thing that we're going to get through is the Europa League group stage draw, which is taking place today. We are one of the 8 teams seeded 3rd for the draw, which is great. We'll check that one out here. We might also just quickly have a look down here at the seeded teams. Monaco's at the top, 98 coefficient for the last few years. Tottenham in that top bucket as well from England. And then us, we're up to 24.371. We had 0 last season. Of course, making it through to the semi-finals of the Europa League itself will have helped that. But 23 points in a single year, 24.371 points in a single year isn't the worst result in the world. And interesting, last year's winners, Red Bull Leipzig, I take that back. They were runners-up in the end. It was Liverpool that won it last year and qualified for the Champions League. Leipzig, of course, beating us in the semi-final. They are in the second pot, so there is potential that we'll get them in the group stages. We've also got like Juventus are in there, Borussia Dortmund, who we played last season, Ajax, who we played last season, Milan. Some very big teams in the Europa League this season. We're going to set it to automatic draw. I wonder if Juve must have had a really poor season in the Serie A if they're finishing in Europa League spots. But they do go into Group A with the other top seeds. As far as the top seeds are concerned, Club Brugge probably the weakest one in Group B. And Espanyol also not super strong either. Onto the Pot B teams now. Rapid Vienna goes in. Dinamo from Croatia goes in. Heerenveen gets drawn in with Tottenham. Slavia Prague, who have played previously in Group E. Copenhagen go in Milan. A few other sides as well. And now Leipzig in Group H with Ajax. That'll be a very tight group. And our 3rd pot is now in. We are going to see where we land here. We won't get Group D because Tottenham's in there. Group E, we skip Dortmund. We're going to get one of Espanyol, Ajax, or we're going to go into the group of death. Yep, we're going to go into the group of death. I just said Ajax and Leipzig. And of course, Sports Interactive listening in have noticed as we drop in with Ajax and Red Bull Leipzig. Both sides that we played last season, we beat Ajax over 2 legs. But we lost to Leipzig in the semi-final. It will be a good opportunity for retribution. And Ufa from Russia is going to be the 4th team in the group. Why do I open my mouth sometimes? Like as soon as I called that out as kind of being like the group of death, it of course drops us in there. We don't want to finish 3rd, even though it would be good to play in the Europa Conference League because I think we'd win it. We do want to try and win the Europa League this season. Now what does that do to our schedule? So it does mean we're going to play against Red Bull Leipzig after the game against Bournemouth, which makes me think maybe we'll play Brighton, old moneybags Brighton in this first game. We might skip the match against Bournemouth, which we should be winning, even though it is away at the Callum Wilson Stadium. That's absolutely insane. I didn't even notice that. And then we'll have our revenge mission, an away trip to Red Bull Leipzig to try and get back, or some measure of revenge, for our defeat in the semi-finals of last year's competition. Magic of editing though. We're going to jump forward to the lineups against Brighton now. Right, just like that, we are in the next day for the match against Brighton. We are playing pretty much a full-strength lineup with Mancini in goal, Mokhtar and Esteban as the defensive partnership, Andre at left wing back, Fontana at right wing back, Lind and Henri anchoring midfield, Haji at the 10, who has settled quite nicely in his first few games at the club, Ortiz on the left wing, Peacock, who's been magnificent with 4 goals already for the season on the right, and Rivera, probably the only player struggling. Hopefully we can get a little bit better performance out of him. He will lead the line up top though. Looking over at the Brighton side, they're playing a 4-2-3-1. They still have, holding out in midfield, Jude Bellingham, 32 years of age now for the Dortmund midfielder, ex-Birmingham. He jumped over to Newcastle. He actually stayed at Birmingham longer than I would have thought, 4 seasons before moving to Newcastle. He was at Chelsea for a good few years, and he's been at Brighton now for the last 5 seasons. Still very good. Okay technical attributes, okay mental attributes, but physically still going quite well for a 32-year-old. Now, interestingly, looking at the Brighton squad, they don't have Arkin playing today. He's actually out suspended, who is a player that's given us trouble years on years on years. He was at Arsenal for a few seasons where he always scored against us before he made a big money move to Brighton a few seasons ago, £113 million. Him not playing will be a bonus for us, but they do still have some talented players out there. They've got this guy Fernandez, who looks quite good, 4.5-star potential ability. 21-year-old Portuguese, number 10. He's quite decent. Garcia is one of the best wingers in world football, 25 years of age. You can see here, technical attributes just absolutely phenomenal. 16 technique, crossing, 17 dribbling, 16 first touch, 17 passing as secondary attributes for a winger. On support, excellent determination off the ball and work rate. Very good acceleration, pace and agility as well. He's been at the club for a while. They've paid £93 million for him. Just some eye-watering money coming out of Brighton at the moment. Itamar over on the other side, also a very good player. Full Brazilian international. Also going to play as a winger. 19 dribbling is very impressive, as is 18 agility and balance. He's going to be difficult to get the ball off if he picks it up in space. And then the big one that they've spent this season, Kalinowski, we did briefly speak about him. 4.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, a very, very good player. 18 finishing, 18 first touch, 16 dribbling, 18 technique. Like he's an absolute beast. 19 agility, 19 pace and stamina, 18 off the ball, decent composure, good determination, good flair. He looks to be pretty much the second coming of Robert Lewandowski. Passionately, we're going to say, or maybe assertively, we'll say, I want you to pick up where you left off last time out. All right, first highlight of the game, ball to Peacock. It's not a bad effort near post, and 5th goal of the season for Neil Peacock. He is continuing his fantastic start to the season very, very well, and an early goal kind of changes the dynamic of this one quite a bit. I have a feeling Brighton in their setup are going to be trying to get Kalinowski in behind as early as possible. Maybe if we take an early goal, it might mean they have to commit a few additional men forward, and that opens up more space for us on the break. That's the hope, in my head anyway. We'll see if it actually works out that way. All right, we're getting towards the half an hour mark without really any highlights for either side. We're going to demand more, and everyone seems to be positive except Carlos Andre and Pablo Rivera, who again is struggling today. The little Mexican up front not having the best start to the season so far. 2 minutes additional time to be added on at the first half, and it's gone well so far. 5 shots, 3 on target, 32% possession for Brighton. But again, I think that possession stat kind of plays into the fact that they're trying to get Kalinowski out in transition early. 3 shots, 2 on target, 68% of the ball for us, and a 1-goal lead. Assertively, I'm going to say don't get complacent out there. We don't use that one that often. And Mokhtar seems a bit stressed. I'm going to also calmly tell Pablo Rivera that he wasn't that bad, but I think he can improve. We need to start to see him hit the back of the net with regularity. You're going to struggle throughout the course of the season if your striker can't find the finishes. And he's getting a lot of 6.4s, 6.5s early part of the year. We need to try and get him back into some sort of form. Mokhtar sends it out left here to Ortiz, and we've got 2 men back stick if he can get a ball back in. Skips past one challenge, cats it back to Lind, and it's pinballing around. It found its way to Haji eventually. I don't know what happened with Lind there. If he had just gone for a flick-on header towards far post, it was wide open. Instead, he tried to knock it down for the number 10, and Haji could only put it against the post. Highlight here for Brighton. It'll hurt a little bit more. Oh, Haji's done quite well to win the ball back in a great area. Got a lot of work to do from distance, and Patton comes out with a good save. Rivera, can he find a ball back in? Garetta, I think, has given away a free kick there, so we might get an opportunity from the wide area. No, we don't. It doesn't show us the highlight at all. But good little passage play there from Haji. The one-man press did well. Just couldn't find the finish. We're through an hour mark now. We're going to let this highlight play out. We've given away a free kick in a poor area. I think that's Itamar who's going to take it. Or Kalinowski, sorry. And it favours a right-footed player, and he smashes it into the top corner. All right, we've got 30 minutes remaining. Let's switch up and go to attack. Actually, no, let's go to positive because it had been working. And that is the first highlight that we've seen for Brighton thus far. Rivera struggling again. We're not going to watch it in 3 dimensions. I can see that highlight going on in the background. Haji hasn't played poorly. We might bring on Barbosa just to try and rotate a little bit in midfield. Maybe fresh legs will do the trick. And we've got another sub. You know what? We'll bring on Mbungo for Rivera. If Rivera's not going to find the back of the net, we don't really want to risk not getting 3 points or throwing away a lead. Esteban into Haji. Last contribution from the little Dutch playmaker. Now Lind finds Fontana on the overlap. What can we do here? Will this change our subs? if we maybe see Rivera find the back of the net. Henry out to Ortiz, back into Henry. Rivera from distance, it was a wild strike. Didn't really ever look like it was going to hit the target, but at least he's getting shots off. At least he's having highlights. I'm going to use Get Creative as well. With about 25 minutes remaining in the half, everyone seems inspired, which is great. Can we find a go-ahead goal? Like I should mention, a 1-1 draw with Brighton, who have spent a shitload of money and are a very good team in the division, isn't the worst result away from home, but given the way we've started, I would want to try and see us continue our momentum. Canberra comes through. Esteban with a good challenge as the ball runs through to Mancini. What can we do here from the counter? Ball into Lind. Now Barbosa, first involvement from the Brazilian. Plays it out left to Ortiz, who's been probably our best player on the day. Gets the strike away, but it's closed down well by the Brighton defence, and he wins it back before it's cleared. Canberra now looks to send Kalinowski. First we've seen from the Polish man, and he's found the finish. Football Manager, why are you like this? It's just a ball in behind, really, and yes, he picks it up in a good area and does a bit. It's a good save from Mancini, but it's almost as if he planned that. He was going to just belt it against the keeper on one side and then move to the other for the rebound and the pass into the open net. There is a highlight immediately coming from kickoff. We'll let this play out and then we might look at making our last sub. Maybe shifting to attacking for the last 10 minutes. It's a poor ball, but Carlos Andre will win it back for us. Henry, now Barbosa. Well, he's lost out in a bad position as well. Thankfully, Barbosa does well to win it back. Lind, back into Henry. Work the 2v1, finds Ortiz on the left-hand side. He gets a strike away, but Patton does quite well. Good little touch there from Ortiz, though, to take him beyond the defender initially. Let this corner play out. Peacock to take. Looks towards back stick, but it's not great. Ortiz will win it back and square it up from Bungu. Gets 2 chances at it, and Henry, all he had to do was find the target on that left-hand side, just beyond far post, but at least we're getting back into it. We're going to go attacking now, and we've got one more sub up our sleeve. Carlos Andre, next worst match rating. We'll bring on Mejdu, because it's pretty much a like-for-like swap. And let's passionately say, I have faith in you, get out there and make a difference. And let's also use Get Creative with a couple of minutes remaining. Corner to be taken. Peacock goes near post. Idemar pinballs it around. Barbosa with the drive. And then Lind from distance. A wonderful strike from David Lind. Second goal of the season for him. We're going to check this one out in 3 dimensions because I think maybe Barbosa's initial strike saw the keeper do a dive because it didn't have that much pace on it, Lind's strike, but he just got it on target. Headed away by Idemar. Barbosa with the initial drive. And then, yeah, it's not actually. The keeper just kind of goes down on his knees and it wriggles its way into the back of the net from about 30 yards. There is a highlight here for Brighton. Please don't do this, Football Manager. Don't break my heart. Peacock sends it up the line from Bungu. Now Henry to Barbosa. What can the Brazilian do breaking forward from midfield? He gets tackled, but Peacock's on hand to get the second ball. Ball back stick towards Ortiz. Squared up to Barbosa. Pinballs around, and Bungu with his first goal of the season. Is that a late winner against Brighton? Oh, this game has had some twists and turns throughout the course of it. And it looks like someone made a mistake in the build-up, but Peacock does very well to pick up this second possession ball. And I would have thought Ortiz maybe would have gone the strike. It was on his left foot. He squares it up to Barbosa. It actually hits Mbungu and thankfully falls to his advantage to poke it home from inside a yard. Now what do we got with about 5 minutes of additional time remaining? I've just hiccuped. Probably a nervous hiccup in that respect. We're through the 5 minutes now. So referee calls full time. That is a good win. 3-2 in the end, 87-minute and 89th-minute winner. Mbungu getting a goal off the bench. He's ahead of Rivera in the scoring stakes this season. Maybe we'll start Mbungu for the next one. 16 shots, 7 on target, 61% of the ball for us. 10 shots, 8 on target, 39% possession for Brighton. And we're going to passionately tell everyone a very nice victory. Well done. So it does say stay top of the division on 12 points, but you can see City just behind us with that draw against a very strong Man United side and plus 12 goal difference. They're going to be, I think, ahead of us before we know it. Kalinowski with his double got the Man of the Match award, which is to be expected. And Bungu actually gets a pay increase after making 20 league appearances up to 35k a week, which doesn't kill us. Wage budget still has a little bit on hand. I think there's another one that we've got to be wary of, which is for Henry. I think he goes to 100k if he makes a couple more appearances, if I remember correctly. But a good win. We will now play the Bournemouth game off screen. And I think what we're going to do in that one is we'll stay positive with the view that against Leipzig, we'll drop back to this counter-attacking structure and play a little bit deeper. Hopefully, if they scout us, they'll see us playing positive and think we're going to be a bit more aggressive in the press than what we actually will be. Magic of editing, though. We're going to jump forward to the game against Leipzig now. All right, just like that, we are a week ahead. That was a battle. We beat Bournemouth 3-2, maybe going to attacking a little bit early, kind of burned us on that one. They caught us on 2 counter-attacking goals. And they were playing like a 4-2-4. It was ridiculous. Anyway, we are still undefeated in the league. Now we want to try and transition that form to our Europa League fixtures as well. So there's one change in our lineup. Harold comes in on the left wing. Ortiz has got a bit of a knock. He just drops down to the bench. He's on about 84% conditioning. I didn't want to risk it. It's a long season. We've had a flurry of games early on. So we'll play that little bit of a rotation. And of course, dropping down to counter-attacking as well will hopefully help a few of these guys with their fitness and everything. It's less intense in terms of an overall tactic. Red Bull Leipzig playing a 4-2-3-1. It is a very different looking lineup to the one that we played last season. There's a few players out, not in the squad at all. There's a guy named Oust in midfield who was very good. It was this guy over on the right that did the damage for us, Christian Fur, striker by trade. They're playing him as a right winger by the looks of things. Maybe as an inside forward on that side. 17 dribbling, 18 first touch. Very, very good physical attributes as well. 17 acceleration, 20 agility, 18 pace. He was the one that found that finish after El Mehdi Mokhtar shorted that back pass to Mancini last year. Bentelli, who we played against last time, he was their captain. He was decent as well at the base of midfield. Advanced playmaker. I think they're playing him a little bit deeper as a deep line playmaker in this one. And leading the line for them this time is going to be Wolfgang Boyce. He looks all right. Nothing super spectacular. 3-star current ability, 4-star potential. Nothing massive jumping out in terms of attributes here, but 17 first touch, 16 technique. He might be trying to hold up the ball a little bit more for Fur playing as that inside forward as their leading scorer for the season. They're a good team. We know they're going to be a challenge. They gave us a challenge last year. Assertively, we're going to say we owe Leipzig after what happened in our last game, and thankfully everyone's responded positively. Our last game with them was actually a 0-0 draw at home when we missed a penalty. It was a way that they beat us 1-0. Lind with the ball here, who started the season scoring 2 or 3 goals already. Haji also got his first for the season against Bournemouth as well, a cracking strike. Fur comes forward. Haji wins it back and sends Rivera over the top. Brought him back into the starting lineup. He did start on the bench in the last game, and he hasn't found the finish there, but at least positive signs from the little Mexican. We need him to open his account sooner rather than later. We're also going to keep an eye on results. Ajax playing Ufa in the other game. You'd expect them to win that game and potentially go top of the group. The press is a little bit too high here. Moita splits it out to Fur. First real involvement from him, and thankfully the drive straight at Mancini, who does very well, saves and holds. Thrown right-hand side now for Leipzig. To Knoll in midfield. Now Kirsten. Ball over the top for Fur. Flick on header to Boyce. Wide right area. Back to Fur. You can see them trying to exchange with each other. Lind clears the ball, but only as far as Kirsten, the Leipzig defender. Now Garcia. Out to Findelson, who stayed forward on the left-hand side. Ball near his post, and it's found Fur back stick. We pin balls around, and again, Christian Fur scores against us. He's proven to be one of those players that just seems to consistently find the back of the net against us. His 6th of the season. Good ball out there from Finderson. They just stayed forward. When we tried to transition our press to move forward, their fullback stayed, and Fur got 2 bites of the cherry. Carlos Andre did well to close down the first one. The second time asking, though, a little bit slack in that transition. I don't know why Carlos Andre didn't go to the ball again, and it was Mokhtar coming across, but just gave that little window for Fur to find the back of the net. 20 minutes in, we might use Demand More shout as well. They've had 2 highlights and 2 shots on goal from that, both to Christian Fur. So we really need Andre to have a decent game on that left-hand side for us. Through 30 minutes now, we might use to get creative before we get in for half-time. And I'm not going to panic just yet. We're going to stay on counter for a little bit longer, but we might pull the hairdryer out at half-time if things stay as they currently are. And they do as we get to half-time. So Leipzig 1-0 up, 3 shots, 2 on target, 36% possession, 10 shots, 2 on target, 64% of the ball for us. We are going to aggressively say, show me something else in the second half, and let's see if we can't go out and fire up a little bit in the second half of this one, and hopefully maybe try and pull something back. A 1-0 defeat isn't the end of the world as far as progress is concerned, but you think we're probably going to have to beat one of Leipzig or Ajax away from home to get through in the group. We're through the hour mark now, so Rivera again struggling. He just cannot find form at the moment. Maybe we need to adjust the role that he's playing in. Maybe we move him to a pressing forward for a couple of games, see if that helps him find some fitness. Harold not playing particularly well, but he's still developing. We can bring on an Ortiz who should be able to get through most of the game, 84% fitness for him. And then we might hold off on that last sub for the last 10, 15. It's also easy to get creative shout. And we do have a throw in deep in our half here. It's going to be Carlos Andre to take. We left ourselves 2v1 at the back, which is fine. It looks like Fur's dropped in to defend. Ball with Henri now into Haji. Square to Ortiz. Lovely touch and a lovely finish. Larry Ortiz comes off the bench. 2nd goal of the season for him. It's an immediate impact. It's pretty much his first touch controls it. His 2nd touch in the game finds the finish. Wriggles it past near post. I thought I should be more confident with Henri. He's good with the ball, but Fur nearly wins it back. Carlos Andre does quite well. Little ball there from Haji. Little one into Ortiz. Lovely touch and a good side foot, left-footed finish on his favoured side. Wriggles in near post and gets us parity with about 30 minutes remaining. We have got a deep throw in here again, forward to Ortiz. Back to Carlos Andre. Just wait for him to commit. You don't have to clear the ball. Just wait for him to commit. If they're happy to let you have it there. Now he comes forward and he plays it into Lind. That is what we want to see. I know it's not the most entertaining content in the world, but we do want to see them waiting for the defender to commit to the ball before we make that transition. Esteban now. Oh, looks, he just gives it straight back unnecessarily. Kirsten tries to play it forward, but it's poor. Mbago's done very well to win it back in a good area. Can he find the finish? Gets it back on his right foot, and it just had to maybe go near post there. Went far post, and the keeper did well to save to his left and push it around the corner. Ortiz now to take towards near post. Esteban was there, but it's cleared away. They've left further forward, so I'm wondering if maybe they've gone to him up top. He has turned away now, and Henri with a lovely tracking run and challenge makes its way out for the throw-in deep on the Leipzig side. No highlight, so I guess they did nothing with it. Right, 10 minutes remaining in the half. We're going to hit pause and we're going to make one more sub. Saying Peacock hasn't had the greatest game. I've got to put a right winger on the bench just for these times when he's not playing particularly well. Mokhtar's got a yellow. I think I'm more conscious about that. So we're going to bring on Warburton just to play as a ball-playing defender for the last 10 minutes. We're going to use a demand more shout as well just to give everyone some focus through to half-time, or full-time I should say. Ortiz with the corner here. Can we try and find a set piece to maybe get a go-ahead goal? Ortiz back to Lind at the edge of the area. It's pinballing around. I think Mbongo was maybe in the area there. Lind has been credited with the goal though, 4th of the season. We'll check this one out in 3 dimensions. He's come up with some big goals in the early part of the year. Definitely adding goal scoring to his game, which he didn't have previously. Ortiz does quite well. Finds Lind. First time varsity. Mbongo's right there. Maybe in an offside position. Keeps the keeper a little bit unsighted as well as it wriggles into the far corner. And 5 minutes of additional time. Can I maybe throw in one more demand more shout just to give everyone some focus through to the end of injury time? We're through that now. It's a fantastic performance and victory. 4 shots, 2 on target, 37% of the ball for Leipzig. 18 shots, 8 on target, and 63% for Isle of Man. Passionately, I'm going to say, done brilliantly to come back and win that. I'm proud of you. And I did fire the rocket at half time, so we've got to give them credit where credit is due. And in the other match, it looks like Ajax beat Ufa 2-0, so they will go top of the group early doors. Pochettino, who's managing at Juventus, it looks like, is into Henri, which isn't great, but we get 490k, which is huge for us for winning that one. We need to try and get as many wins as possible, and Lind gets the man of the match award for his excellent goal as well. So early doors, things going quite well. Top of the Premier Division after 5 games, second in our Europa League group, which is where we want to be. And looking forward to our schedule. Where does that put us moving forward? Played our September game, so we might look forward to October. Maybe we'll come back and do the game at home to Aston Villa to see how we're going in the league, and then the away trip to Ajax as well, heading to the Johan Cruyff Arena. Those 2 away fixtures, Leipzig and Ajax, if we get good results in both of them, I think that's going to put us in a good position to top the group, but we probably have to hope that they draw against each other along the way or something to that effect, and that might set us up nicely to come back tomorrow with a little bit more Europa League action for the rest of the season. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That is the portion that I appreciate the most. If you want to help celebrate a famous European victory and a bit of revenge against a side that knocked us out last year, you can drop a like in this video, or you can subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date on all of our future videos, which are going to release Monday to Friday, all the way up to release of FM21 in like late November, early December-ish. We're waiting to see when that date actually ends up being. But more than anything, guys, I just appreciate you watching. As always, I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.